Bob's Breakfast.
Chris brought us a horrific story earlier this morning. It's a lady in Dublin. She's at the seaside, eating a bag of chips. A seagull swoops down, tries to steal a chip from her mouth, and rips her lip wide open. What a brush with wildlife that was. When have you had an encounter with an animal? Tracy?
Well, it happened to my son at a big garden centre.
Okay.
And he got attacked by a turkey.
Oh, they have turkeys walking. They have turkeys walking round, do they?
Well, you know, they've changed it now, but they had this area where all the turkeys and geese and all the little animals like that were.
Yeah.
And he was he was only 2.
Right.
So he was standing looking at the turkey.
Yes.
And it poked its head through the square bar and pulled his eyelid. Got his eye.
Oh, how horrific! You're laughing at that, Tracy! It could have blinded the poor kid!
No, it was actually horrific at the time.
I bet!
Dreadful. It was. I'm not laughing. Sorry. It's a nervous laugh.
Shocking mother you are. Goodness me.
No, I'm dreadful. Sorry. No, he was okay, but actually, on all seriousness, it could have been very bad.
It could have been very bad. Very bad.
And that's why they changed their fencing, because they didn't really care much that it had happened.
Oh, didn't they?
Believe it or not.
Didn't they?
No, they weren't that fussed at all, and so I did say I was going to take it further, and if something was done, because it could happen to another child.
Well, you could have been in for a bit of compo there. I mean, he's... No,
I called up about it, and they said unless he was blinded, there's not much you can do about it.
Oh, really?
Sorry,
so you're laughing again? Goodness me.
I'm sorry. I think it's a nervous laugh.
Yes.
But,
and is he okay?
He's okay. He just what the turkey had done was he'd got at the top of his eyelid and pulled it completely out, and it was cut. I mean, it was cut and bleeding.
Wow! It really was horrific.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. But they changed all their wiring, because now they've got tiny little wire fencing now, where the bird can't get his head through.
Can't get his head out. No. And what's your son's name?
Archie.
And is Archie scared of birds now?
He's next to me. Do you want to hit him?
Yeah, put him on. How old is he now?
Archie. Yeah. Say to Graham. Graham wants to ask you a question. Yeah.
Morning, Archie. How old are you now?
11.
11. Now, do you remember this incident when a turkey tried to blind you?
Remember at the back of my hand.
Oh, you remember it? Right, okay, you remember it well. Now, are you scared of big birds now?
No.
No, all right. And is the eye fine? Did it 8 years later or 9 years later, everything all right?
It still always feels a little more numb than the other one, but...
Oh, does it? So you've got a lasting injury?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's the first I knew of that. Thanks,
I told you that.
Jesus, look, he's told you, you're not even listening. You laughed at him when he nearly got his eye ripped out by a turkey, and now you're not listening to him as his ongoing problems over this, Tracy.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for calling, and thanks to Archie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Jeez. Archie's in real trouble. Yep, she should be putting money away for his therapy now. I'm Graham Mack. Latest news, Chris Hubbard.
It's that time of the year when we start getting tales of excess packaging through mail order items.
What are you talking about?
Well, every single year there seems to be stories about people who've ordered stuff online. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe a notebook or something like that, and it comes back in a massive box.
Oh, in a big crate surrounded by packing peanuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with this. I got to say, I don't even agree with padded envelopes.
No?
I'm not in favour of the sexualisation of stationery. A robot cemetery in Russia. This is where you take your gadgets that you know when they die, and you're really grieving for them. So, talking about the gadgets you've had that when they went, you really felt it. And Darren, you used to have one of these, a Stylophone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wanted one for my 10th birthday, like, and I didn't get one, so I was pretty gutted. But I got one that same year on the Christmas.
Right.
Like, yeah, and within a week I ran out 3 batteries. You know them little square things that you can put on your tongue?
Oh, little 9 volts, yeah.
Yeah, them little one things, yeah, and I drove my mum mental with it, like, yeah, and in the end, like, yeah, apparently, right, it got chewed up by one of the dogs, because we had two Alsatians, Husky and Sabre.
Right.
But you could clearly see, like, yeah, that a hammer had gone through it. I mean, you know, 10 I might have been, like, yeah, but you could clearly see a hammer had gone through it, like, yeah, and I weren't sure whether it was my mum or whether it was my idiotic brother, like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, it was a case of bottom lip syndrome, you know, I didn't cry.
Oh, no.
It was like, yeah, I was gutted, I waited so long for it, and then I only had it just over a week. Yeah, all
But
that
clearly
old
somebody had enough of it after a week. Yeah.
Well, I reckon it was my mum.
Yeah.
Right, who bought it in the first place.
Yeah, it could well have been. Oh.
Yeah, you knew.
This is Bob.
You had played a clip there of a lady. Who's she from? She's from the catering thing?
It's a company called Hertfordshire Catering Limited.
Oh, okay, and they're talking about these tasty, healthy breakfasts they're giving to kids.
Yeah, so this is a change that's coming in today.
We've got some great products like banana split granola, which is in fact a banana on a lollipop stick, dipped in Greek yogurt, and then coated in great tasting granola as well.
It won't taste that good.
You don't think?
No.
I think it sounds all right.
No, she said it's a banana,
Yeah,
okay, dipped in yogurt,
yeah.
dipped in, and I quote from her, great tasting granola. Okay, the way you can tell that it's not great tasting is because you have to use the phrase great tasting. If it was dipped in something that did taste good, she wouldn't have had to say, she wouldn't have said, and then dipped in great tasting chocolate. Because you don't need to say that.
Bob's Breakfast.
Talking about gambling this morning because a lady got sick of her fellas in her life just being stuck in front of the TV watching football. She decided to take out an accumulator bet, just picked a load of teams. She didn't know anything about them, picked them as winners, just put the bet on for £1, won 500,000 quid. Hooly dooly. So we've been talking about gambling and bets that have paid off. Badger.
I used to go in a pub and they used to do, when the lottery was 49, they used to do the bonus ball.
Right.
So you pay £1, pick the bonus ball, and then whoever won got 49 quid. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I went in there on a Sunday lunchtime when it first opened, and he said, "Oh, we're doing the bonus ball again, but we're carrying over £38 because nobody won last week because we didn't sell all 49 tickets, and the one that won, no one had brought. Yeah,
right."
So he said, "Do you want to have a go this week?" I said, "Yeah, I'll have all 49 numbers." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I'll get me 49 quid back and the 38 quid from last week, won't I?"
And did he let you do that?
No, he went, "Oh no," he went, "Hang on, you can't do that." I thought, well, it's obvious, isn't it?
This is Bob.
Can we start with something serious this morning? If you say Jesus backwards, it sounds like sausage. Just because Jesus backwards sounds like sausage doesn't mean you can depict the Saviour as a sausage roll in a nativity scene. Greg's the bakers.
They're in trouble.
It's a genius PR move, though, isn't it?
Oh, well, people are talking about it. Greg's are getting a lot of airtime and a lot of coverage in newspapers.
Greg's the bakers have apologised after replacing the baby Jesus with a sausage roll in a nativity scene to promote their Advent calendar. A right-wing pressure group called the Freedom Association isn't happy. Simon Richards, who's their chief executive, described the image as sick. The Freedom Association. I've looked them up. They describe themselves as a centre-right libertarian organisation.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Non-partisan centre-right, yeah.
Yeah, non-partisan. Only most of their members are Conservatives and UKIP. Non-partisan. Now, to me, It seems a bit strange for an organisation that describes itself in one of its descriptions there on the net as libertarians, and are actually called the Freedom Association, that they want to censor the advertising campaign of a business. And if you are offended by what Greggs have done, you are free to never spend your money there again. That's freedom. Banning them from having a nativity scene where instead of a baby Jesus there's a sausage roll, I think that actually infringes their freedom. I do agree with Simon Richards, though, because he also goes on to say in a tweet, we all know that they would never dare insult other religions. But isn't that a good thing? Doesn't it show that most Christians have got a sense of humour and wouldn't attack Greggs shops like maybe radical factions of other faiths might? I really don't see what all the fuss is about. A lot of Christians are told that the communion wafer literally is the flesh of Christ. If he can be a wafer, why can't he be a sausage roll? Morning, Daphne.
How'd you get on with your shopping yesterday?
Oh, it was a disaster.
Was it?
It was an epic fail. Epic fail.
Really?
Epic fail. I hate supermarket shopping. Every step of the way, I got it wrong. Julie, I checked the list, which is an app on the phone that, Julie keeps it up to date. I keep it up to date. I think there were 25 items on the list. Anyway, I also wanted to get the car washed. And there's a place at this supermarket where they'll wash your car while you do your shopping. But I'm usually too quick for them, and I come back and they haven't finished the car and I have to hang around. But they've also got a cafe, so I thought, brilliant, I'll have something to eat for my lunch, and then I'll go around the shops, and that'll kill the time so that when I'm done I can just go straight to the car and go home. Right? Good plan?
Yep.
Good plan. So I get there and I think, well, what do I have? And I'm a really fussy eater because I don't eat meat, I only eat fish, I hate vegetables. I'm a real problem. So
you can go shopping then and then hardly eat anything.
Well, anyway. So I get to this cafe and I look down the menu because I'm looking for fish and chips. That's normally my go-to. I didn't see it there. They probably had it. I don't know. I didn't see it. But I saw they did margarita pizza, which is just cheese on pizza. And it was £6. And I thought, well, that's all right. I'll just have a thing. I'm thinking this must be an individual pizza, right? So I ordered that. They said, oh, you'll have to wait. So I had to wait. I said, I had just a glass of water because I don't like drinking sugary drinks too much. Anyway, so they had like a water thing that was free. So I'm sitting there drinking my water. I'm looking at stuff on my phone and they shouted over. They said, margarita pizza. I came back. I'm telling you, this thing was 15 inches across. This was like a wagon wheel in a box. This was just a giant pizza. So for just me, like four people could have had an evening meal out of this thing. So good on them, £6. That's great value, but it's a problem for me. Now, right. So I managed to make my way through half of this giant pizza and I left half a pizza. That's just wrong on so many levels. People starving in Africa and all the rest of it.
Oh.
And I didn't know what to do and I'm there on my own. And so I just threw it out. You have the bin at the end where you throw your...
Couldn't you take it home and have it with a salad?
Well, I couldn't. What am I going to do with it? I can't take it around the I'm going around the supermarket now. I can't take it around the supermarket. It's a giant box, right? Okay. I can't walk around with it. And I can't go and put it in a car because the car's being blinking washed.
Oh, right.
So I'm in trouble. So I had to throw it out. And that's just wrong.
What a waste.
What a waste.
Yeah.
Yes. What a waste, right? So then I get to, now Julie said she's rejigged the list so that the most important things are at the top. And number one at the top is kitty litter. And so kitty litter comes in a giant sack, for about £9, this giant sack. So I got this giant sack. I've got this, I don't use a trolley. I go around with a basket. When the basket's too heavy, I'm done because I have to carry it. So I get this giant sack of kitty litter. Next thing on the list is toilet rolls. So I get this bag of like 8 toilet rolls. So I'm trying to juggle that. I've got this hippie bag as well that she makes me take so I don't get a thing back. But there's nothing, so far, nothing I've bought will even fit in the hippie bag. Then the next thing on the list is kitchen towels. So I buy a pack of 8 of them and that's it. I can't carry anything else. Well, the 25 things on the list and all I managed to get was 3. So I defeated. I then went to the wrong till. I went to one that looked like it should have a human being because I had the conveyor belt and everything, but it was a robot. So that messed me about. There's too many buttons to push, but I still managed to get that. I get to the car. Thankfully, the car has been washed and they did a really nice job. So I paid for that and I tipped the fella for doing a nice job. I get all the stuff in the boot. I drive home. I failed. I get home and then I've got my bag, my work bag to carry and this giant kitty litter and this giant thing of toilet rolls and this giant thing of kitchen towels and got virtually nothing off the list. 3 things off a 25-person list. I get that. I go for a sleep. I wake up. Julie comes home from work from 6 o'clock and she says, "Oh, the football's on tonight. Did you get any goodies?" I'm like, "Get any goodies?" She said, "Well, that's why you were going to the supermarket on that night." I said, "Yeah, it is, so we can watch the football and eat Doritos." I didn't get any Doritos. She said, "Well, you better get back out there and go to the other supermarket, the one near us, and go back." So then she sent me back out. So I went back out and I'm going through the list and one of her cordials, I rang her twice because I didn't know what damn cordials she wants. I can't find anything in there. I think I've got all the little bits and pieces. I see great bargain, box of Maltesers for £1, so I get 2 of those. So then I get home and I go, "There you go." And I unload everything and she says, "Where's the Doritos?" I said, "I forgot to get them." It was a double epic fail.
Well, did your team win? That's the thing.
And what?
Did your team win?
Yes, we did, 3-0. But that's not the point. You asked me how the shopping went. Once again, it was a disaster. It's always a disaster. Never send me to the supermarket.
Well, there's always next week.
Yeah, there's always next week. She'll probably send me back today. I went twice yesterday.
Gordon Bennett.
This is Bob.
What's going on in Welwyn Garden City?
Well,
scandal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they scheduled this celebrity Love Island star, Katie McDermott, to switch on the lights.
Yeah.
Load of parents decided that she wasn't suitable because she'd been on Celebrity Love Island. It wasn't
She wasn't suitable because she'd been on that show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it wasn't family enough. They thought, well, it would appeal more to teenage boys and girls instead. It's not suitable for younger children. So somebody set up a petition signed by more than 550 people. There were various comments on social media as well. And the organisers, under pressure, have backtracked on this and decided to remove her from the event.
Right, so that's 2 of us that have been banned from turning on the city lights.
Crikey!
When they banned me from the event,
yes,
why wasn't that as much publicity when I got banned? Because I'm banned as well.
Are you really banned?
Of course. Yeah, I am banned from the Welwyn Garden City light switch.
Good grief!
I've been banned now for what? 2 years now? 3 years? I think this will be the 3rd one I've been banned from.
That's some going.
Yeah, so this is old hat. I was getting banned from the Welwyn Garden City Christmas light switch on way before this Celebrity Love Island girl.
It's Bob.
Parking stories this morning. What's yours, Lynn?
You're going to absolutely love this one. This is true, definitely true. My mum was a traffic warden.
Right.
And when my eldest girl, who's now 36, was when she was about 4 or 5. I had to go to the shops to get some bits from our local co-op in Cheshunt, and I parked with her outside the shop. She was in the car, locked her in, charged in, got the bits I needed. Literally, I was only no more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Got back to the car, and she used to call my mum Mama. She never called her grandma.
Right.
And she said, "Mum, Mama came and put that thing on the windscreen of the car."
No. No.
Yes. My own mother gave me a ticket.
Did she know it was your car?
My her granddaughter was in the back of the car. So when I got home, I rang her and said, "Mum, what are you doing giving me a ticket?" She said, "You were parked illegally. You are not my daughter when you're on the road with a car. And if I had left you out, all the other cars that also got tickets would have complained."
I think your mum's taking the job too seriously.
Yeah, so do I. I could not, but I had to laugh.
Well, yeah,
because
but now,
I could not believe my own mum would give me a ticket.
I give traffic wardens a hard time, but this is proof right here, isn't it? That they deserve everything they get.
But I should not have been there. She was right. I should not have been there.
I know, Lynn, but come on, and their granddaughter's in the back of the car.
Her answer to that was, why did you leave Claire in the car in the first place? Because I had to go and get mushrooms for her for breakfast.
I'm Graham. Can you hear a whistling?
Yeah, what's going on?
What is that whistling? Is that going on the radio, or are we just hearing it in our ears?
I'm just wondering if I've got tinnitus.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought, wow, I've got some kind of ringing in the ears, and then is it?
It's not.
It's in this room.
It's not some sort of alarm, is it?
I don't know.
How weird.
Now, where is it coming from? Is it like I take the headphones off, okay, and I can hear it? Now, is it in your room as well?
No, let me turn the mic off.
Right, Chris has turned his mic off. He's listening to see if it's... Because he's in a different room to me. He's in a...
No, it's not in here.
It's in here, then?
It's in there.
Right. No, I don't know. It's probably not going on the radio. It's probably freaking us out.
Well,
it sounds like it's coming from above me. Is it a light? Wait a second. Let me just turn the lights off and see if it's a light.
Right.
So, I think it may even be getting...
It's getting louder.
Right.
No, it's not the light.
Right, I've turned the...
That's definitely
I've turned
going
the
out
lights
on
on
the
and off, and it's still going, right? Where is it?
This is going to drive you.
I
and
found
everyone
it.
else. Have you?
I found it.
Right.
There's some box in the back corner here.
Oh, has someone turned it off?
Or on? I don't
Hang
know.
on.
Wait a second, let me see.
Right, that would be the studio power button.
Ah, righty there.
Brilliant.
Bob's Breakfast.
Politicians. You know they want to control you and take away your freedom. In some places, they take that to extremes. You know, places like North Korea. But it's happening in Europe too. In Helsinki, Finland, they're experimenting with a thing called universal basic income. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a government handout, and it'll be enough to live on, much higher than a pension or unemployment benefit, but everybody gets it.
What?
Whether you're working or not.
Really?
Yeah. A government universal basic income. This idea is to just give everybody the same amount of money, and if you want to work on top of that, you can do that. And then that's it.
Where's the incentive then to get off your backside?
Exactly. This thing's not even means tested. The disabled will get the same as the able-bodied. Pensioners will get the same as young people who are working. Talk about your pie-in-the-sky plan. The difference between adults and children is that adults are not dependent on their parents. Universal basic income turns everyone into dependent children and turns the government into your parent. The government is not fit to be a loving parent. The government doesn't give unconditional love. The government is a group of politicians. Politicians are driven by a hunger for power. And the ones that make it to the top are the ones that are hungriest for that power. The way they satisfy that appetite for power is through control. And when the government controls your income, they have total control over you. If you don't conform, they can threaten to cut off your universal basic income. If your employer treats you like a child, you've got the freedom to quit and work for someone else. No one wants their income to be dependent on a controlling parent, especially if that parent is a politician. Under the system of universal basic income, you can work as well. You can earn money on top without losing your government handout. Like you said, Chris, what workforce will that produce? One of the things that motivates employees is the fear of losing their job and therefore their only source of income.
Yeah.
And Finland's just the start. Fife Council in Scotland is planning its own basic income trial. They want to apply it to an entire town.
Wow.
Giving up to £7,000 to everyone, no matter their age or employment status.
I mean, $7,000 in your hand would be very nice.
Yeah, but not. But where's the motivation to do anything if you don't have to do anything to get the $7,000? Now, the way you can tell that universal basic income is a bad idea is that it's attracted praise from the political left and the right. When does that ever happen? You see, both sides can see how much power it would give them through total control of an electorate, and how easy it would be to win an election just by promising to raise the level of universal basic income. Each election will basically be a peeing war for who can pee the furthest.
Of course.
They already know how to buy votes from people who always turn out to vote. Pensioners. That's why pensioners get free TV licenses, a winter heating allowance, even if they live in Spain, and a triple lock on their pensions that guarantees they get an increase every year by a minimum of 2.5%, or the rate of inflation, or average earnings growth, whichever is the largest. Now, most people working have not had a 2.5% minimum increase every year. In fact, they mightn't have had a pay rise for many years, none at all. Pensioners get a minimum of 2.5%, or the rate of inflation, or average earning growth, whichever is the largest, which is probably the 2.5%. But still, the only reason why pensioners are bribed that way is because the government know that pensioners usually vote. That's how we ended up in this Brexit mess. Because old duffers with old ideas about an old Europe and an old empire voted for us to leave and caused a mess. Governments have a duty of care and must look after the vulnerable in our society. That's what state handouts are for. If you give handouts to everyone, we all become vulnerable. Now, if you think universal basic income is a good idea, you are either hopelessly utopian, naive, or a politician. Universal basic income is the biggest risk to our freedom since the threat of Nazi occupation.
It's Bob.
This great-grandfather, who is the most married man in Britain, has set his sights on getting married again after being ditched by the woman set to be his 9th wife.
Right.
So Ron Shepherd says he was completely stunned when the latest woman who was going to be his wife, who's 41 years younger than him, walked out on him on Friday. He says he now wants to find somebody more mature.
How old is he?
He's 69.
69, and she was
28.
Oh.
So there's a bit of an age gap there.
Well, that's not going to work. They've got nothing in common.
No. He says she was always sitting with her headphones, listening to music. To me, she was just a bit too young.
Right.
The next one will
Did he mention how you can't understand the words in the songs? Did he do any of that?
The next will be a bit older. I get a lot of people who write to me on Facebook. They're all younger. Who are these people who are writing to me on Facebook?
This guy's rich, isn't he?
I don't know if he's rich or not.
I do.
Do you?
Oh,
you
yeah.
reckon that's a given?
Yeah. It turns out that you get creepy old men. They hook up with cheeky young babes. They do. And if you ask women what they want in a man, sense of humour. It turns out when you get very rich, you're hilarious. The Queen is dodgy. I mean, they say there are only two certainties in life. Death and taxes. Not if you're the Queen. What are these, the Paradise Papers? They've revealed that about 10 million quid of the Queen's private money, it's our money, where do you think she got it from? Of the Queen's private money was invested offshore It's put into funds in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda by the Duchy of Lancaster, which provides the Queen with an income and handles investments of her £500 million private estate. Private, guess who pays for them? The taxpayer-funded British monarchy is investing offshore to avoid paying tax. How wrong is that? Meanwhile, people are having a go at Vodafone and Starbucks and Google and all the others, and the Queen's on the fiddle. She's a direct recipient of tax and won't even pay it. And she's also put money into the rent-to-buy retailer Bright House. Now, they've got a lot in common with the royal family. They've been accused of exploiting the poor. The Queen gets £82.2 million a year from the taxpayer in a thing called the Sovereign Grant. We also kick in another £4.5 million a year to pay for the Queen and the royal family's official travel. The royal train last year cost £288,697, even though last year it only made 14 trips. She loves spending our money fixing up her property. She spent £1.2 million last year replacing the doors on the orangery at Windsor Castle. That directly came from taxpayers. It's not just her, of course. We paid £154,000 for Charles and Camilla to use Camforce One, the official government plane, to visit Italy, Romania and Austria. Now, Republic, which is the people who campaign for an elected head of state, what a crazy idea that might be, they published a report on royal expenses. And they said, once security, because none of that's counted, security and the police and all, once security and other costs are included, the annual bill for the monarch is around £345 million a year. So it turns out the Queen's got nothing against spending tax. She just doesn't like paying tax. So death and taxes. Death and tax is the only certainties. Not true for her, because she's a tax avoider. And she's cheated death for 91 years as well. Could that be because our tax has also paid for her to have the finest physicians while we struggle to get a doctor's appointment? Well, Australia has voted in favour of gay marriage.
That's right, yeah. It's a non-binding survey, but the government over there say that they want to act on this.
Yeah. Australians voted to legalise same-sex marriage in a national survey. It wasn't an actual referendum. It was a survey. 61.6% of voters said yes to change the law. 38.4% were opposed. That seems high to me.
Yeah, I guess it does.
I lived in Australia for a long time. I remember it being a very tolerant society. In fact, the Gay Mardi Gras in Sydney was one of the main events of the year. It was like that and New Year's Eve.
Of course,
They were like the two big events of the year in Sydney. So I don't understand that almost 40% of those who voted were against a change in the law. This morning, I watched an interview on Sky News with a lady who campaigned against gay marriage. She said she was opposed because she was a Christian. I mean, the Bible is homophobic. If you were to write or say now some of the stuff that was written in the Bible, you would clearly be accused of being homophobic. Leviticus 20:13, it says, and here's a quote, "If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them."
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's your Bible. Now, not many modern Christians want to put gay people to death.
No.
They've taken a more secular view on homosexuality. In fact, they've been doing that for a while. They've taken a more secular view on a lot of other things in the Bible. For instance, Numbers 15:32-36 in the King James Version is pretty strict when it comes to the penalty for violating the Sabbath. Here's what it has to say. Now, while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath, and those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron, and to all the congregation. They put him under guard, because it had not been explained what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man must surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp." So as the Lord commanded Moses, all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died. So, it turns out, according to the Bible, homosexuality, punishable by death, is just as bad as gathering sticks on the Sabbath.
That's quite extreme.
It is a bit extreme, isn't it? This was this lady's argument, though, in an interview on Sky News for not having same-sex marriage.
But then you've got the Dean of St Albans.
Yes.
Jeffrey John.
Yeah.
He's in a civil partnership.
Right.
So people high up in the church are gay.
Yes.
But we know that.
Yes.
Which is just...
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's fine. That's freedom.
Absolutely.
But this lady was saying in the interview that allowing gay people to marry restricted her religious freedom. I don't get that. I don't get how, if gay people can marry, how she is less free. Gay marriage is legal in Britain, right? Are you and I less free than we were before gay marriage was legal?
Last time I checked, no.
I don't see it's made any difference to my life or anybody's lives around me who are not a gay couple. To a gay couple, it's made a big difference.
Well, yeah, for a lot of people, it's made them freer, hasn't it?
I would have thought so. But it's not made anybody less free, has it? Which brings us to the tolerance paradox. That's the tolerance of a religious dogma that restricts other people's freedom. Because there are more extreme examples of this. For instance, Saudi Arabia, they throw gay people off buildings. But we don't interfere with that, because that's their religious belief. That's their religious freedom. What about the freedom of the person being thrown off the building? It's the tolerance paradox. And a ban on gay marriage restricts the freedom of gay couples. It stops them enjoying the benefits in law that come with a marriage license. These are things that can safeguard their families and protect them. Some of the protections and obligations of marriage which are denied to gay couples include hospital visitations, child custody, adoption, parenting rights, medical decision-making power, automatic inheritance, standing to sue for wrongful death of a spouse, divorce protections, spousal and child support, access to family insurance policies, exemption from property tax upon death of a spouse, immunity from being forced to testify against one's spouse, domestic violence protections, and loads more. They don't get any of those that people get who are heterosexual couples as a right in law. If gay marriage is illegal, where it is in Australia, the gay couples don't get any of those protections. And I come back to it. How exactly are Christians' rights and freedoms affected if gay people are allowed to marry? In our secular society, you are free to believe in and worship any god you like. And that freedom exists because we have secular, not religious values. In most religions, people who don't believe that particular religion are shunned. In some cases, it ends in death. People are put to death for being infidels or non-believers. And then there's religious wars. But in secular societies, you are free You are more free in a non-religious society to be religious than you are in a religious society. And that freedom to follow a faith and worship however you like is not affected at all when a gay couple gets married. What really would affect the freedom of all of us would be if we were all forced to conform to rules set down in a book that was written thousands of years ago by people who thought the world was flat and didn't know where the sun went at night. Especially if you planned on gathering some sticks on Sunday.
It's Bob.
Good morning, Ken.
Today's a budget day, isn't it?
Budget day today, yep.
And I'm concerned what's going to happen locally.
What do you reckon?
Well, there's rumours that he's going to take a lot of land out the green belt for building.
Well, he's going to have to, because he says he's going to build more houses, or he's going to encourage more houses to be built. Well, he's going to build them where people don't want them built. That's a dead cert.
Well, you know, the government rules are they should look at brownfield sites first, not green belts.
Well, specifically where are you thinking of, Ken?
Well, close to me, there's some lovely land that's in the green belt. There's deer, there's red kite, there's hedgehogs, bats, and they want to build on it.
Yeah, no, they don't care about them. They're going to build on it.
Well, we haven't got a housing problem. We've got an overpopulation problem.
Well, until we get that message through, the world, you know, this is a global problem. People just keep having kids as if it's their right.
Well, stop child benefits. Only have kids if you can afford it.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? That, you know, when you say things like that, people go, oh, do you only think rich people should have children? And I go, yeah, you know what? I do. I think kids would grow up, you know, kids living in poverty is bad. And I don't know why we want people who can't afford to have children to have as many children as they can. And the more they have, the more of our tax they get. None of that makes any sense to me.
But if you go back to what you were talking about earlier, obesity.
Yes.
You walk around Stevenage and the size of the kids.
Well, this is the other thing that makes no sense. We have fat, poor people.
Exactly.
How does that make any sense at all? You know, I don't know. Ken, it's just a mess, and politicians are not helping. And somebody needs to just, it's just, you know, uncomfortable truths people need to be told. Your kids are fat because of you. Exactly. Your kids are not fat because of the government or no sugar tax or whatever excuse you're making. Your kids are fat because of you. You're making your kids fat. Your kids are your own damn fault.
Well, you see them queuing up outside Greg's.
Yeah.
You know, that's not healthy food by any stretch of imagination.
No. It's the amount of food as well. Exactly. You could make them eat healthy food and they'd still eat too much of it and they'd still get fat.
Well, it's a case, you know, not exercising, eating too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Lack of respect.
Yeah. No, I don't know what the future holds. There are too many people, and the people that are creating people are not the ones that should be the parents anyway.
Oh, I say, if you can't afford kids, you shouldn't have them.
You shouldn't have them, man. I don't know what this whole child benefit business is all about. But yeah, we got the budget today, and the budget's just another PR stunt. Exactly. That's all it is. It doesn't actually make any difference. We've got no control. They're just, yeah. All right, Ken. Thanks a lot for your budget review there. And you too. Bye. Thank you.
School dinners are taking a bashing this morning, with one headline saying, "Are these piles of slop the worst school meals ever made?"
Good.
This is a school in Nottingham.
School meals are supposed to taste horrible. Let me say it to you again. My mother was a terrible cook. Our school dinners were virtually inedible. We were served frog spawn. We were served bullets and rubber. And I was not obese. The big crisis we have now, fat children, and they're not healthy. And they're not healthy because their mothers have learned to cook. And the problem is people like celebrity chefs like Jamie Oliver, who sells cookbooks that shows mums how to make tasty food. Then he got into the schools and showed the schools how to make their food edible. And now we have fat children. Are you happy, Jamie? Well, it's that time of year, Christmas shopping season, fraught with danger. How do you go, Mick?
I bought my wife a coffee machine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what else to buy. I bought this coffee machine, and I'll give it to her. And she says to me, "Why did you buy me this for?" And I said, "I thought you might like it." And she said, "I've been hinting for ages what I wanted. You obviously haven't taken the hint." So she goes, "Can you take it back and get the money?" So I took it back and got the money for it. So the next birthday, I thought, I'm not going to do it again. So I just put 200 quid in a card,
yes.
with a card. She opened the card up, and she went to me, "Oh, you give me money?" I said, "Yeah, you can buy what you want then." She went, "Well, there's no fault in that, is there?" And I thought, what do you do? You know what I mean? You can't do anything right, can you?
So, what are you planning to get her this year, Mick?
Oh, do you know what? I'm completely confused. You don't know what to buy for the best, do you?
Have you noticed any hints coming your way? Anything at all?
No, she hasn't hinted at all saying that.
All right. All right.
No.
Well, all right. If anyone's got any idea, well, what's she into?
Do you know what? I've been married nearly 30 years and I don't really know. That's quite sad, isn't it?
Mick, I don't think I can help you.
I don't think anybody can help me, to be honest with you.
What's happening in the news?
Well, a man claiming to be a time traveller from the year 2030 has revealed what lies in store for us after getting stuck in 2017. I mean...
so where's he from? What time's he from?
2030.
2030, so he's from the future.
But not that far ahead in the future, really.
No. And he's come back here, but he's got stuck.
Yes, that's right. I mean, the predictions, they're all pretty obvious, to be honest.
Well, you see, there's been lots of these. If you go on the internet, particularly YouTube, there's loads of interviews with so-called time travelers. Now, as any lawyer will tell you, to prove something, you need evidence. And circumstantial evidence is not usually enough to convict someone. What you need is hard evidence. Never have they brought something even as simple as a coin from the future or a gadget from the future. You'd think they would have something with them, a piece of hard evidence, an actual physical object that comes from the future that makes you go, wow, yeah, this guy probably could be from the future. And they never have that. No. They have these tales of things and whatever, but that's all they have. Anyway, so what's this fella's predictions then?
Well, this guy called Noah says, "I want to be clear, my sole objective is to prove to you that time travel exists. However..."
Now, why does he want to do that? Like, if I was a time traveller, I wouldn't want to prove that I was a time traveller. I'd want to keep that quiet.
I would.
Especially in the bookies.
Yes, of course.
We've all seen Back to the Future. Yeah. That's what we'd all do.
Why isn't this guy earning a fortune?
Yeah. And you'd keep it to yourself. Why would you want to tell anyone? And you know that if you do tell anyone, you change the future so that if you go back to the future, it might be different. Look what happened in Back to the Future, which actually predicted the future, didn't it? They went and they had a look at the film, didn't they? Because it was set in, was it 2015? I
believe so.
The third one, and they went back and they looked at some of the predictions and tried to claim that they'd come true, and they hadn't. Like, we've not got hoverboards, we've not got flying cars, we haven't got any of those things. The one that it did get right is Trump.
Yes,
Biff.
Yeah, it did.
Biff now, bloke lives in a casino, a skyscraper casino. Biff, and he runs everything. That's Trump. Trump is Biff. They predicted Trump. That's the bit they got right. But it was only because they went back and they messed with the past that you got Biff to be so powerful. So if he really was a time traveller, he wouldn't be telling us stuff, because just knowing this stuff could change the future. When he goes back there, it won't be the same.
Okay, we'll wait for his prediction.
If he does get back there. Yeah.
These were his predictions.
Okay.
For 2021. So he's not edging his bets too much.
2021
really.
is the year that the government say we'll have autonomous cars. Well, not autonomous driverless. You've got to be very careful with that. Autonomous cars go wherever they like.
So
driverless cars, yes.
His predictions are.
Yeah.
Self-driving and driverless cars will improve drastically.
Well, 2021, the British government has said they're gonna be on our roads. So he could have predicted that by looking at the Mail online this morning.
Absolutely. Okay. Artificial intelligence and virtual reality will be all the rage.
Aren't they already?
Oh, yeah. It is.
I mean, artificial intelligence, that's what that Siri and Alexa and all that kind of...
And virtual reality, well, you can buy...
And will be all the rage. That's not specific enough for me.
No, it's not, is it, really? A Google Glass-style device will be worn by everyone, he says.
Well, he's got that one wrong, because I do like to predict the future from time to time. Usually I'm right. And we're all the nerds... We're predicting wearable tech will be the next big thing and have been saying this for about the last 10 years. Wearable tech has been just an unmitigated failure. Google Glass, they got rid of it. The Apple Watch, only dorks buy them, and I think they've only sold 2. You want some quiet time on your own in a busy Apple store, you go by the Apple Watch table, there's no one there. And they're only watches for dorks anyway. No one wants to be a dork, so no one wants an Apple Watch. The Fitbit is supposed to be a big deal, but only with fitness loonies. But, wearable tech, we've all got mobile phones, none of us are wearing them. So he's got that. There's proof right there that he's not from the future, because wearable tech is never going to take off. Okay,
here's the next one then. Renewable energy will take off.
All right, so he's seen like the huge windmills when you drive along the motorway. He's noticed them, has he?
This guy is a genius.
And once again, it's so vague. Yeah.
Donald Trump will win a second term in office.
Well, that's probably going to happen as well.
You reckon?
Well, yeah, because, no one thought he'd win the first one. No one thought he'd get the nomination. And he did. So he probably will win a second term. And people believe he's a con artist. Lots of people get conned. If he hadn't made it in the casino, he came from the casino business. Casinos are a giant con. People go into casinos thinking they're going to win money. And if you go to, say, Las Vegas and you see all the free stuff and the free buffets or the dollar buffets you can get and all the free shows you can see and whatever, and the amount of money, the MGM Grand Hotel has live lions in the lobby. The money that's spent in Vegas, the casinos don't make that money by letting you win. It's a total con. And it is. The odds are stacked in favor of the house. The business cannot work any other way unless it can't lose. That's how it works. So Donald Trump is a con man, and all he's done in his life is con people. He's pulled off the biggest con of all. He's made some people think that he's fit to be president, and he's not. So he could con them again. This guy's a rubbish con artist, though.
Well, this guy...
He's rubbish at it.
These are the only 5 predictions.
That's
the top 5 predictions. This is it. So
one of them's wrong, which is wearable tech. He's just repeating that one because people keep saying it, and it's never come true. There's no item of wearable tech that's been a success. Not one.
Self-driving cars as well. We've just been talking about that this morning.
Self-driving cars is obvious. Yeah.
Virtual reality will be all the rage.
All the rage, yeah. I think he might be wrong on that one as well, because we've had those like virtual reality headset things and that. And what's a virtual reality headset? It's wearable tech.
It is.
This is what's let the 3D TV. 3D TV was going to be the next big thing. No one likes wearing the damn glasses. Wearable tech. So I think he could even be wrong on that one. We've had virtual reality for a long time. It hasn't taken off.
Renewable energy as well.
Renewable energy. Well, we have to have renewable energy because the energy's going to run out. It has to. That one's not even a prediction. That's just a necessity for the future of the human race.
Absolutely.
If we don't work that one out, we've had it anyway.
So Noah the Time Traveller this morning. Those are his predictions for 2020, 4 years' time.
Noah the Time Traveller.
Got worldwide attention for this.
There's a word I'd like to use for what Noah is, and it isn't time traveller. But let me just talk about another story here that maybe will give you an idea of what I would like to call Noah the Time Traveller instead of Noah the Time Traveller.
Okay.
You're talking about how a lot of councils have got gritters, and they're naming them like what are they naming them? Spready Mercury and all these different names for gritters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone come up with bull gritter? A royal wedding. Oh, yeah. Are you excited about it? What do you think, Sam?
Oh, I'm not bothered. I think it's a distraction for the country for the next 12 months to stop thinking about Brexit.
Oh, so you think the timing of it is deliberate?
Oh, I don't think it's deliberate. I just think it's going to be used as a, look over here at the shiny thing, as opposed to, what we need to be concentrating on.
And what do we need to be concentrating on?
Well, Brexit and the amount that everything's going to cost us.
Yeah.
And, we've got money going towards Trident, we've got money going towards this railway up north that we didn't really need. So
yeah.
There's always money there, but nothing for nurses, doctors, or police or services.
Turns out we didn't have enough money to insulate Grenfell Tower properly. But we seem to have enough money to put on a lavish royal wedding and pay for all the security.
Yeah, you see the other day that they did a report, and they still don't reckon a lot of these tower blocks are safe either.
Well, yeah. But
so it's not like it's
tower blocks, they're not worried about a tower block. They're going to live in a palace. So, and we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, what we always do.
Yeah.
They had an 11% pay rise last summer, didn't they? So.
I don't know how it all worked. I don't get it. And so far this morning, I can't find anybody that's particularly bothered about the royal wedding. No one seems to be interested in it. But,
it's all a lovely bit of pageantry and a lovely bit of tradition.
Oh, it's lovely. A young couple, great. That's fine. As long as they pay their own way. I just don't want to pay for it. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a neighbour down the road saying you can come to the wedding, but you got to pay for it. Like, I don't even know you.
Yeah, but we can't even go to the wedding. No. You know what I mean? It's like if one of your neighbours said, by the way, you're chipping in to pay for this wedding. Oh, really? And you're not invited. Oh, you can watch it on telly, though. We'll give you a DVD of it when it's done.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. So another day, more bad news about Brexit. These people who say Brexit is good for Britain, apart from this feeling we're supposed to get of having our country back, exactly what do we get when we're out of the EU that's better than when we're in? Exactly what? Let's forget these feelings. Let's talk about facts. Is there anything? 'Cause I don't see it.
Well, there's talk this morning that politicians want more from Brussels when we've paid this bill. This is what they're saying.
But look at the bill, Chris. 40 billion? Now I'm hoping that's when a billion is 1,000 million. Because some people a billion is a million. So let's hope that this is 1,000 million. So 40 billion. So if you take a million, multiply it by 1,000, and then multiply that figure by 40, this is how much they're talking about that it will cost us to get out.
It's an incredible amount of money.
For what? What do we get by coming out that's better than when we were in? Don't get it. It's all about feelings. Facts are the only truth. Feelings are often lies. If you feel good, it doesn't necessarily mean things are going good. You could be lying to yourself. Facts are truth. Feelings are not. Now, I've been thinking about this. Brexit and the election of Donald Trump. They came, it feels like straight after each other. Ours happened in the June, and then theirs happened in the November. But there's a lot of similarities. The reason why so many people voted for Trump is the same reason why so many people voted for Brexit. They wanted their country back. Actually, they wanted to feel like they had their country back. Now, I can't speak for America, but in Britain, Brexiteers may feel like they're going to get their country back. But so far, nothing about Brexit has been good. And a year and a half after the referendum, we're still a long way from leaving the EU. I mean, how much has it cost us all this time and effort that our politicians have been putting into this, that they should have been putting into running the country and making our lives better? But they've been concentrating on this. It's a massive distraction.
They've also got a Department of Brexit.
Department of Brexit. And what's that, David Davis, is that his name? The Brexit guy? He goes over there, for months nothing happens. Theresa May goes over there and has one dinner, and suddenly they're like, oh yeah, we think we're getting somewhere now. So he's been wasting his time. Probably because we sent the oily rag, not the engineer. Something this important, why are we not sending the main person? Why are we not sending the Prime Minister in the first place? We need to appoint like a Deputy Prime Minister to run the country and have her go and sort this out. Even though she was pro-Remain. This is how ridiculous this whole thing is. Jobs are already being lost. It's been announced that the European Banking Authority and the European Medicines Agency are moving from London to mainland Europe with the loss of around 1,000 jobs.
Is that how many?
It combined, I think it's 900 at the banking one and about 100 at the medical one. One of them's going to Paris, the other one's going to Amsterdam.
Funnily enough, though, they chose Amsterdam, they were saying, because of its close links to London.
Yeah. Dublin only just missed out. So, around 1,000 jobs already going. Fact. Not a feeling, fact. Which is so ironic. Because a lot of people voted for Brexit because they thought foreigners were taking British jobs. Well, guess what? Foreigners are taking British jobs, only they live in Paris and Amsterdam. They didn't come here from Eastern Europe. Let me just get onto the immigration one, because make no mistake, that's what Brexit was about. The truth is that at a time of record immigration, we also had the lowest unemployment figures in decades. The immigrants were not taking the jobs. But British jobs are now being lost to foreigners because you voted for Brexit. You couldn't write that. And if you think Brexit is a good idea, you haven't done the maths. The Prime Minister is ready right now to offer £40 billion to the EU as a bung to let us get out. Now, this is only the offer. The EU don't have to accept it. They can say, come back with 100 billion and then we'll talk.
They could well do.
It's only an offer. But let's, for argument's sake, say it's accepted. £40 billion to get out. And more job losses to come. Come on. The car industry, manufacturing, come on. They're all going to go. We had 1,000 and we're not even out yet. We're years from being out. 1,000 jobs, years from being out. Anyway, let's assume that the 40 billion is all we'll have to pay in cash to get out. There are other ways we're going to pay, but let's just assume that the 40 billion will be accepted and that's all we pay. Remember during the referendum campaign, the pro-Leave politicians, including Boris Johnson, were pictured in front of a big red bus that said, "We send the EU £350 million a week, let's fund our NHS instead." Now that was classic fake news. Unchallenged, because those figures didn't add up. The net amount that the EU gets from us is nowhere near that much, because there's money comes back in other things and subsidies and grants and all the rest of it. It's nowhere near £350 million a week. And you think politicians are just going to put that in the NHS? Is that how they work? Are they just looking for big wads to chuck in the NHS? That's not how they work.
And whenever you mention that to any of the politicians who supported that at the time, who were pictured in front of the big red
Boris
bus,
Johnson.
Yeah. You always get a...
Oh, yeah, the cone of silence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just imagine if we did the opposite. Let's just imagine as well, if we're going to imagine the 40 billion is going to be accepted, let's just imagine that we were giving 350 million a week to the EU. Let's just imagine we were. So, in theory, that's money we'd save. Now, in the first few years after Brexit, we wouldn't be able to give that money, 350 million a week, to the NHS. Because we'd have to use it to find the 40 billion to give the EU to get out. So if we gave 350 million pounds a week to the EU, it would take more than 2 years for that to add up to 40 billion. 350 million pounds a week. Do the maths. 350 million. 350 with 6 zeros. 40 billion, 40 with 9 zeros. So even if that figure was correct, which it isn't, it would take us more than 2 years to break even. And that's not counting all the job losses along the way, and the fact that the 350 million a week isn't a true figure anyway. So, how does that give us our country back? And in America, they voted for Trump. Do they feel like they've got their country back? They probably do. But how has it given them their country back? But we've got a bigger problem than America. A way bigger problem than America.
What's that?
If things don't work out with the Donald Trump presidency, they can vote him out. We're stuck with Brexit. I'm Graham Mack, talking about the story from Dublin, where a lady was eating fish and chips at the seafront, and a seagull went for a chip which was in her mouth and ripped her lip wide open. When have you been attacked by an animal? Neil.
Many moons ago, I was going out with this girl, and I thought I'd take her to the zoo for the day.
Yeah.
And this is down at Crystal Palace. I bought her a nice big bunch of flowers, you know, to win her heart and everything.
Yeah.
So we were walking around the zoo, but I don't know, for some unknown reason, I sort of hid the flowers from her. I kept them behind my back all day. I was walking around like Nelson with one arm
Right.
showing.
Yeah, because you wanted to wait till the right moment.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I got to the moment, and I presented her with these what I thought were flowers, and a bloody goat had eaten them all behind my back. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I've never lived that one down, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Bob's Breakfast.
So, it looks like we're paying for another royal wedding.
Well, isn't this lovely? I'd love an invite to the reception.
No, you're just paying for it, mate.
Yeah,
you're just paying for it. I don't know.
I mean, Harry seems very happy. I'll give him that. On a personal level, looks delighted.
He does look delighted. She looks like a nice enough girl too.
She does, doesn't she?
The official interview, unfortunately though, looks more like a press junket for one of her movies.
Well, we were looking at this morning.
We were, weren't we? It looked to me like she was an actress at a press junket discussing a movie with her co-star, and the movie is about a Hollywood actress that marries a prince.
The lighting didn't help it.
It didn't help.
I mean, obviously they were trying to create some sort of scene there and make them look very relaxed and at home, and they had the soft lighting and everything.
But the room looked like one of those hotel rooms where they do press junkets for movie publicity, although I'm sure it wasn't a hotel room.
No, it looked like it was probably a house in a palace somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we wish them luck and we hope they're very happy, and it's great when you find that person that is your other half. It's just amazing. It's just a shame we're paying for it. Here's the bit that could get confusing.
Okay.
On a level of, well, not quite constitutional crisis, but there's going to be a difficult thing to explain here. You see, Britain is a strange country. We have nationalised celebrities. We have private celebrities who make their money honestly by doing what they do, singing, dancing, acting, and taking money from private companies, film companies, TV channels, whatever, for their work in exchange for their labour and their work and their effort. Then we also have nationalised celebrities, the royal family, who we pay, we fund, and they, in return, live a life of opulent luxury on our behalf. People say they do a lot of good work. Well, they don't actually. They just do some PR. That's why they cut ribbons at hospitals and the rest of it. It's PR for the royal family. But, it's all paid for, and the police and the security and all the rest of it. But we basically have two types of celebrity. We have your private celebrity and we have your nationalised celebrities that we pay for. Harry, of course, is a nationalised celebrity. We pay him to be Prince Harry. He didn't do anything to earn this position. He was just born into a dysfunctional German family that we have decided are genetically superior to the rest of us. So we kowtow to them, we bow to them and curtsy to them, and we give them our money. I don't understand it, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is.
It is.
So, he's a nationalised celebrity. Now, she is a private celebrity. She earns her living honestly.
Yeah.
She is an actress, and she works for Hollywood movie companies, and she gets paid for her work.
And she's worth about £3 million in her own right.
Yeah, yeah. And all of that money, she earned.
Yeah.
Privately and honestly. The British or American taxpayer didn't give her any of it. But now she's going to become, what they say, a duchess. Possibly a princess, but more than likely a duchess.
Yeah.
She's going to become a member of the royal family. Which means we will start paying her. And we'll start housing her in a castle or a giant country estate or a palace, who knows what. So we've now got a private celebrity who's also been nationalised. So she's making money on both ends. Because is she going to give up her movie career?
Well, this is she says she's quit Suits, this drama that she was in the US.
Okay.
But whether she does that
She's an
completely,
actress.
I
That's
mean,
what she does.
yeah.
She's an actress, you know.
And
That's
people-
what she shouldn't have to do that if she still wants to continue to be an actress. She should be allowed to.
Yeah, yeah. I would have thought so. I mean, she's going to be torn, really, because her love is acting, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean, and
that's her calling. But let's assume she does continue to make movies in Hollywood or Britain or wherever she makes them. She's going to be earning a living honestly, and then at the same, and she's a 3 times over millionaire already, and we're going to be giving her money from our tax so she can live a life of extreme obscene opulence, literally like royalty. No. She will be royalty. So she'll get all the benefits that go with it, like being on the, what do they call it? Is it the sovereign grant? There's money that we pay to them to be royals. She will get that money. She will get state housing way better than state housing that normal people who pay taxes get. She will be in literally a castle, a palace, or a huge stately home. And I think that creates some kind of, I don't know if it's a constitutional crisis or a conflict of interest. I don't know what it is, but there's something not right about that.
who is it? Is it Prince Edward who had his own film company? I mean, that didn't go particularly well, did it?
No, it didn't. But he had something going on, didn't he?
Yeah.
And his, actually, to be fair, was not a PR exercise. Like, he didn't, pretend to fly helicopters on 12-hour shifts and rescue people and get photographed doing it and show up at schools for school lunches to get more publicity to remind everybody that that's what he was. He didn't do that. He went and he did what he thought he wanted to do in life. It didn't work out. Maybe some pressure was put on him. I don't know. I don't know. I just think maybe I just have a problem. Maybe I just think that when you pay tax into a system, you would hope that a proportion of that tax money would be going to help the most vulnerable in our society not the mega rich.
According to a report this morning, we'd prefer to receive Christmas cards than texts or emails this Christmas.
Would we?
I mean, you're not convinced by this. I mean, researchers found that high-tech methods, people still prefer a card in the post, a handwritten card.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't understand the whole idea of it. Sending a card at Christmas.
I know there's certain people. I'm going to have a cold this year if I send some. There's certain people I've not seen for years who I send cards to. I think, why am I sending you a card?
Well, the thing is, because we have like family all over the place, you have to go down the list and you have to go, is this person still alive? Because you forget, you can't keep up with how many, you know, some of them died this year.
If it's
but which
family.
Which ones are dead? And you don't know what to do then, because you can't send the card to, Joan and Ronnie if Ronnie is no longer with us.
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be bad taste. And you're supposed to keep up. I'm not big on family. I don't like most of them. So, whether they're alive or dead or not,
I can see where this is going.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not bothered one way or the other. But I don't want them to know that. Hi, I'm Graham Mack. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like it, put a link to it on Twitter or a like on Facebook. And subscribe at Apple Podcasts. Morning, Pete.
What sort of things are you talking about in your show at the moment?
We're talking about the new threat posed by North Korea. He's launched another missile. He reckons this one can reach the United States. Does that bother you? Kim Jong-un might be going to wipe us out?
I think it is a real threat. I think I genuinely believe it could start something. But, I mean, what's your opinion?
Well, my opinion is, we used to keep ourselves safe. Like we used to be under threat from the Spanish. I'm talking about many years ago, the Armada. And the way we used to get out of that, we used to get like a young prince or princess to marry a Spaniard. But we've got a young prince marrying an American. I really think we should have been asking if Kim Jong-un's got a sister. And Harry should have been checking her out rather than this Hollywood actress. That's what I think. I think that because that would sort things out, wouldn't it? What a bomb that would be for the two nations.
It would be fantastic using Harry to sweeten the deal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what are the royals there for anyway? I think they should earn their keep, and we should marry them off to enemies of the state just to kind of appease them, and it could keep us all safe. And, we're all paying for this in our taxation. Let's get our money's worth.
That's very true, very true. Did it surprise you that she'd been married before and the royals would allow that?
Yeah. Well, they had a bit of fuss before, but because Camilla set the precedent, hasn't she?
Yeah,
Camilla.
Very true.
Camilla,
true, yeah.
park your balls.
Bob's Breakfast.